Welcome to Futureproof Business. Smart strategies, real insights, and tools to lead and scale in a fast-changing world. Let's future-proof your success.
Welcome to the Futureproof Business Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Rosenstein. Today I have the honor to interview Marnie Wills. Marnie, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Can you share with the audience a little bit about your background and what you do?
Yeah, sure. And so I've been a multi-passionate entrepreneur for the last 11 years. I've had several businesses, and since June 2024, I have had the privilege of being completely immersed in generative AI and how we can use it in business, from training courses to from Master AI Without the Overwhelm to some thought leadership in how generative AI is changing business and education, to consultancy work and fractional AI operations work as well. So that's what I've been doing for the last year.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Have you always been like a techie guru? I mean, you always, because it started off right away about AI and stuff. A lot of people think that like you're like, you know a lot about AI, you must be an excellent techie person. Is that the case?
Absolutely not. I'm here to bust any myth. There is nothing techie about me. I'm pretty sure I don't even know how to use my own washing machine. I was the uni student who was obsessed with the BlackBerry and wouldn't switch to the smartphone until it became essential. I was a PE and science teacher 20 years ago, and I had my students help me creating PowerPoints and, I don't know, helping with the printers. Like, honestly, there was nothing techie about me at all. I just became that entrepreneur that used to outsource everything. And actually that dug into profits, right? I used to outsource somebody helping with my website, to setting up my email funnels, to, I don't know, even writing my copy. And actually that's how I discovered AI before ChatGPT with a tool called Jasper AI, which is a copywriting tool. And during COVID times, I moved one of my businesses online, and it was a health and fitness business. So I learned all things online funnels, and that's where I started to learn a little bit more about automations through Zapier. And I just started to realize that I could do more than I thought I could. And it was more about the strategy of the outcome that you want, and then you would reverse engineer it. And I guess I just got used to it. And then when ChatGPT came out, where you needed to learn prompt engineering, which I quite liked, actually, it worked for my brain. I'm not sure why. Again, I think it's something related to maybe my science teaching days. And then fast forward to where we are now. And obviously we're not quite needing to prompt engineer as much as we did before, but we do need to customize our AI. And we're moving into vibe coding world, where we can basically verbally communicate with an AI to tell them what we want, how we want it, why we want it. And the AI will go off and create it for us. Yeah, nothing techie about me at all. I just like to talk, which I use for voice mode on AI, many AI models. My favorite is Claude at the moment. I have good conversations with Claude. So I'm a bit of a talker, and I think that has probably helped my generative AI journey.
Wonderful. Well, it's interesting that you were not a techie person at all, but now you're all into AI. So can you maybe share with us, was there like a particular pivotal moment, like you mentioned you use like Jasper AI tool? Like how did AI really impact you for you to make that like big change inside of you that says, hey, I'm now like really into AI now versus being like totally non-techie beforehand?
So the big transformation for me using AI actually came at the start of 2023, when I started to fall out of love with franchising one of my businesses. I was finding it really hard. I just felt that business was a grind and I just wasn't enjoying it. So I went to trusty old ChatGPT. It'd only been out for a few months. And I just started talking to ChatGPT almost every day about the things I was doing in my business, what I was enjoying, what I wasn't enjoying, what I think I had planned for the business, and could I get any suggestions on any other ways? Talking with friends and what I wasn't enjoying it, and was there any other way, or could I sell my business? And basically just going back and forward with that. And then about 6 weeks later, I think it was the end of February, my last with ChatGPT said to me, have you thought about looking for business partners? And I went down that route, and all of a sudden I'd come up with a business partnership model, of which instead of going down franchising, it was more of a licensing, and I create a new region with a business partner who invests a certain amount of money and gets a certain profit share. And that was a really fun project to be able to work on that. And fast forward to June of that year, and I had my first business partner join the business. And then fast forward to where we are now, and I have 5 business partners, and we have created our own AI tool. So my business, my brick and mortar business, is called SportyMinis. So we have SportyMinis AI, and all of my team, all my business partners, all our operations team, they use our own AI models. They have their own AI assistants. We have a few agent flows in that AI model. And yeah, I've gone from having a few franchises to creating a business partnership model that sells very easily. It's really enjoyable. And our whole business workflows from start to finish are done with an AI first mindset on our own AI model.
So you used to like outsource a lot of your technical aspects of your franchising business. Now you're become like an AI trainer. You went from almost like one extreme to the other. Why do you feel like what it sparks the interest in you, not just use AI, because a lot of people use AI now, but you're actually training other people to use AI and you're consulting with other businesses?
I just think I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I've always had lots of different things going on. And I think generally coming from a teaching background, I always love to teach, educate, help. A big value of mine personally, as well as in businesses, creating opportunities for people. And I just seem to somehow be addicted to all things generative AI, and then how it can make normally the leader in the business more productive. But it's more about being a strategical thinker, which was where I got my first experience, like I said, at the start of 2023. And I think ever since then, I've almost wanted to go against the norm of all the YouTube videos are out there. Use these 7 AI tools. And I'm like, hang on a second. It's really good to know that those 7 AI tools are out there. That's the trend for June 2025. But how can you strategically add them to your workflow now? Or do you just need to know about them? So when it's time to progress through to create a new product or service, or to market something, or to look up some new research, or to create something for your teammates, or your team members, you don't always have to implement those tools. There are, as of last month that I looked, 420,000 AI tools on the site. There's an AI tool for that. That's insane, right? It is so hard to know all that. And we don't have to stay up with the trends. Instead, we just need to know, what can generative AI do today? It will 100% get better by the end of the year, and just start to implement things strategically into your business rather than picking a tool. Think about it more as a system.
So, as you mentioned, in the past several years, AI has become very popular. A lot of people know about AI, but I don't know how many people are actually using it for business. I've met a lot of people that they either know about ChatGPT or they use it for like very basic purposes. You mentioned like they use ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever platform to help them write their emails and just do very basic stuff. Can you explain to your audience, like, what are some like business applications or things that maybe a lot of people are not aware of how to use AI to help them with their business?
Yeah, sure. So just, what was it, in the last 2 weeks? So here's an example. There is a sustainability consultant who was working for a company she wanted to set up on her own. So she came to me and said, I want to set up the whole business, and I want to have that AI first mindset where we do everything with AI. So we went to trusty Claude, and we started having Claude question her as the founder. What's her knowledge? What's her experience? What's her perspective? What's her values? Then we went to Perplexity, ChatGPT, Gemini deep research, and we looked at what's going out in the market. What are some trends in sustainability? Here in the UK, there is a kind of a bill looking for, which is called something 2030, and no carbon by 2030 is the bill that everybody's trying to push towards. So we were looking into research of that, trying to find a bit of a niche in the market. Then we did some competitive analysis of some competitors out there that she knew already. And we tried to find her USP. So we took that all back to Claude. And then Claude come up with her copy for her business, from her business mission and values to the products, to the services, to the USP, to the free resources. And we created all that. So then we put that into GenSpark, which is another agent that create the website. We took the code from that website, put it into Hostinger, which is just a site where you can host your website, create it on that. Then we went back to GenSpark and asked it to create some lead generation. So she got a whole scrape through to get her probably a spreadsheet of at least 50 odd lead generation of people she can connect with on LinkedIn to send some messages to about sustainability in the workplace, saving money, but also being sustainable and trying to hit no carbon by 2030. And we did all that. And Claude also helped with her social media channels. We did all that in approximately 10 working days, which is
That's
phenomenal.
amazing. Yeah, it sounds like without AI, that may have taken weeks or months to do, right?
Months, easily months.
So, thank you so much for sharing that specific example. I'll give us a more tangible understanding of what you're talking about, because I think sometimes when people talk about AI, it can mean a lot of different things to different people. And it's almost like a very generic word now, AI. Like we talking about AI, talking about creating websites, creating a chatbot, building websites, doing the research. There's so many different applications to AI. Can you maybe recommend, I mean, like you spit off a lot of different tools out earlier, but is there any like particularly good AI tools you can recommend to people who are non-techie and they're just beginning in AI? How to get started with it? Is there like any one or two tools that you recommend that people can
Yeah.
get started if they're new to AI and they're not really technical minded?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we all know ChatGPT, but I'll be honest and say I really don't think enough people are utilizing the capabilities of ChatGPT. So if you are on ChatGPT, I do highly recommend a paid version of which you can set up your projects. As an example, I have an email newsletter project. It's customized to write professional LinkedIn emails like an expert copywriter. I've given it customization tool, customized it. And I used AI to help write those custom instructions. And I've given it knowledge base about all my newsletters. I always upload all my transcripts for my podcast. And all the things I'm learning, I'm popping in there as well. And then that way I can go to that project and I can say, okay, I need to write this week's LinkedIn newsletter. Here is my notes from what I've learned this week. And then the AI can then help write that. So I don't think enough people are using project as well as they could be. They're just using general chat threads. I think there's the tasks ability in ChatGPT as well, where you can ask it to go away and search. So for me, every Friday at 2 p.m., I've put in a few RSS feeds on AI news, some of my favorite YouTube channels, and the AI goes away, or ChatGPT goes away, and it searches all the details I've given it, and it gives me a summary of all the AI news for that week. So my newsletter comes out Monday. So therefore, over the weekend, I'm having a little think about what I want to add in, and also my brain doesn't stop on weekends, so it gives me something to focus on. So yeah, ChatGPT definitely. I think Perplexity is absolutely amazing. If you're still using Google the way we use Google, I would 100% be looking at using Perplexity. And they've just brought out a new feature called Labs. It is on the paid version, and you can have projects in Perplexity as well. It's just called Spaces. But Perplexity Labs, you can ask it to create anything. So I did this for a client. We're doing an AI compliance workshop together. So we went off, did some research about UK and AI and EU laws, AI, and how businesses could be compliant. And it's about writing policies and being transparent to clients and being aware of bias. Perplexity Labs did all that research and come away and did an actual pitch deck for us. So that was what we then
Really?
presented in the meeting. Yeah. So Perplexity Labs is absolutely amazing. The other tool, which I think is a game changer, especially if you work with a lot of clients in what you do, is called NotebookLM. And again, people have probably heard of it, but not using it to its best of its ability. So you can upload up to 200 sources in one notebook. So I was working with a client on, she does neurodivergence in the workplace and how companies can be aware of it. How can they change their communication styles, but how they can accommodate for different learning styles as well. So we created a notebook where we did a whole lot of research, from YouTube to deep research to articles we found to her workshops and her notes. put it all into a notebook, because you can upload up to 200 sources, and those sources can be videos, audio, text, images, or PDFs, whatever you like. And then it created an FAQ, it created a study brief. We could ask the AI any questions to all the sources or just one or two of them. And it created a podcast for her to listen to as well, of which she was able to snippet some of that and use that as social content. If you're not using NotebookLM yet, either to keep client information in one, or to create a learning project, or just generally to be able to talk to a whole lot of sources that you've created, even if that's like a folder of PDFs about information that you need, put that all in a notebook and start talking to it with Gemini. It is one of the best tools out there.
And you mentioned also earlier that there's like hundreds, maybe thousands of AI tools now. And for some people, especially the non-techies out there, that can come across really overwhelming, like so many different choices. And even like you said, within like just one platform like ChatGPT, there's probably 100 different ways you can use ChatGPT or more. What advice can you give to people who are non-techies, are feeling overwhelmed with so much of the AI? You should do this, do that, do this. You're not using it correctly. And for people not really technical and use this, use this, it comes across really overwhelming. So how can people reduce overwhelm with AI?
Okay, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial here, and just say you just need to start using it. Just like you started using a smartphone, just like you started using social media. Because generative AI is a change in our human operation system. It changes the way we access information, we make decisions, and we communicate with each other. We've had this same change in operating system as humans many times over. The internet completely changed our operating system as humans. And if it changed your operating system as a human, it changes businesses, because humans run the businesses, but they're also the clients and the consumers of businesses. So that operating system has been through many changes before, and we're all going to end up using it. You can't hide away from it. You just got to start. You just got to have that AI first mindset that says, can AI do this collaboratively with me, faster, better? Is there something that can help, an AI tool that can help me do it? If you start thinking that straight away, it will just be part of your journey, because we all had that operating change in the internet. We all had it with the smartphone, and we all had it with social media. So we're not going to get away from it. You just have to start. And the way to not overwhelm yourself is just my 3 tips. Use Perplexity instead of Google. If you choose ChatGPT instead of Gemini or Copilot, just choose one, or Claude, just choose one and use it every day for anything and everything. Start talking to the AI. The voice mode is really important, because we are going to be moving to a point where we all have AI agents, and we're likely going to communicate with AI agents just verbally. So start with those 3 things. And I think this is a stat that I learned only a few weeks ago, and it's an important one, I think, for us all, especially for those in business, to realize, or even parents of children, 64% of Gen Alpha, which is my children, they're almost 4 and 8, 64% of their jobs when they get into working do not yet exist, which means businesses are going through a massive transformation. And the way we do life is going to go through a massive shift. And when our children get to the workforce, they don't know what's out there for them yet. 64% of their jobs don't currently exist.
So now, like you mentioned, a few times about ChatGPT, a lot of people already know about ChatGPT and already using at least some of the basic functionalities, that there's more. So what is like an AI consultant like you come into the conversation? At what point do businesses need to consider hiring an AI consultant such as yourself? Maybe you can explain to the audience, like, what are the benefits? Like you said, if I'm already using ChatGPT and, it's really simple, help me create an email. What are the benefits or advantages of hiring an AI consultant?
Yeah. So to answer your question about when, it needs to be now. Like we've already discussed, there's a massive change. The first thing is the leaders in the business. They need to understand the business transformations that are coming, and they need to have that thought leadership process. So it's really important that they look back at the 3 previous operational changes that we talked about. They look at what businesses ceased, what were created, what job descriptions changed. You have to look back in your industry at that. And then we have to look forward and go, okay, agents and robots are coming, depending on the industry, will depend on how that affects how the business works. Then we come back to the now and we go, okay, first thing is security. How are you using your AI? Is it secure? Is your IP secure? How are you sharing data within your teams and with your customers? So you need to get AI compliant. So your thought leadership, your AI compliant, and then it becomes about efficiency. Are you all using different AI models? Is it trained on your information? Because the biggest issue that people have at the moment is authenticity. They get ChatGPT, for example, to write their email, or Gemini or Copilot, and then the person reading it goes, this doesn't sound like you. And you lose that credibility. It's really important that we use those tools, but we use them with authenticity, which is the training part of the AI. And then it's about everybody having that same, either in the one area, so Copilot teams or ChatGPT teams or enterprise. And then the next step is thinking about, do you need the data that you put into AI? We know agents are coming, and for agents to be able to do their role properly, it needs to be trained. It needs to know about your business, how you like to talk, what you need doing, almost like your SOPs, right, in a business. How does it get that data? If you're all using a different account, a ChatGPT account or a different AI model, how does it get that information? Because OpenAI owns that for you, or Microsoft owns that. But if you go and put that on your own AI platform, of which you have access to all the chat that, so if we have an AI platform together, Daniel, and I have a login and you have a login, if I own that AI channel, I can see all your chats that you do. And that helps me train an agent. That also helps if you're a customer of mine and you're using an AI chatbot, or maybe even agent, that data that you are putting in becomes data that I can use for market research, as an example. So that is the next step for businesses, to start to think about how do they own their data, because information is king, right? So that's quite important. So yeah, that's the next steps in AI consultancy. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, very well. And thank you for explaining all of that. You make a good point about, especially with like business leadership. I'm sure like business owners, executives, entrepreneurs, they need to be on the cutting edge of what's happening with AI, because they're going to fall behind in the marketplace. And they're not going to be able to be competitive, because if their competitors are using these AI tools, they're not, they're going to be at a disadvantage in terms of the levels of success and getting the market share, or getting new clients, or keeping clients. When you think, like you talked about all these different AI tools, but there's a lot to learn, but some business owners and executives, they're extremely busy. Some owners or executives, they're working like 60, 70 hours like a week. So how can AI help lighten the load and make their lives easier if somebody has a really busy schedule? Can you maybe give some pointers on that?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is to make sure you have an AI note taker in all your meetings, because you can then always go back and have a chat with your AI. For example, I use Otter. Otter joins all my meetings, and I can talk to Otter at any time about any of the meetings I have. I also have a Lindy agent, which connects to all my meetings as well as my calendar. So I can jump into my Lindy agent and say, what have I got on my calendar today? So I did that this morning, got a podcast today. Can you do some research on the podcast? Any of the conversations I've had with the host before, and prep me for this podcast recording. So that can save a lot of time from that perspective. At the moment, quite a lot of AI models are connecting to other applications. So ChatGPT, you can connect to most of your email accounts and your calendars. So you can verbally ask, and Claude does this as well as Gemini. I can basically say, and I did warning, I'm a Gemini user. I'm a Gmail user, so I use this on Gemini. But I had a LinkedIn message about scheduling for tomorrow, and I did it all verbally. Go in and schedule a meeting with Alan. I need 45 minutes at this time, and give him any notes that he needs ready for the meeting. And that was all done verbally. So that saves a lot of time. It's almost having your own kind of PA, EA type scenario. And then I think strategically, one of the best things to try and relieve the mental load for CEOs and executives is create yourself. I call it like a CEO Sidekick is what I call my AI assistant, but you can call it your executive EA, and just have that as a project in whatever AI model you choose, and make sure that all of your transcripts, all of your meeting notes, everything that you do from a strategic level in your business is uploaded into that project, into knowledge base, and just go in and ask your AI. I remember saying that we needed to get these KPIs done. I can't remember who was most responsible. Rather than trying to dig through some spreadsheets or some emails, just get the AI to do the thinking for you. It is, I like to call it your second brain, but a smarter second brain, because at the end of the day, you're the leader in the business still, management role, and it still needs human interaction. But most importantly, you can get everything out of here into an AI, so the AI can then enhance your capabilities.
Some people are saying that AI is taking away our human connections. Did you find that to be accurate, or do you find like AI can help build more human connections with other people?
Yeah, so this again might be a controversial answer, but I fundamentally disagree. I honestly believe that generative AI and the rise of agents is going to finally take away the very annoying iPhone that I seem to be connected to 24/7, including when I'm bathing my children, because I'm a little bit obsessed with being productive and thinking, and my brain is going 100 miles an hour. So I'm writing things down. Whereas I actually think that generative AI tools it'll be a lot more verbal. I might have something connected to me and I might just quickly verbalize something or send my AI agent to do something. And because of that, I think that when we actually start to talk to each other in business, because we would have done all the mundane tasks with agents and our own AI models, we'll enjoy the conversation more, we'll be more present. And then in terms of us as humans, Bill Gates only said the other month that he thinks we're moving to a 3-day work week because of generative AI tools within business. So that then leaves us open for more leisure time. And history has shown more leisure time normally means more interaction with communities, more purpose-driven impact, things we don't have time for. We could potentially, hopefully, make time, as long as we are good humans that like to support each other. Then I think we're heading for enjoyable life.
So what excites you like the most about the future of AI in terms of like business?
What excites me the most? I think possibility of just being super creative. I think as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, I'm always thinking about new business ideas, new products, new services, new way to serve people, a new way to make money, a new way to make impact. I think my brain just never stops like that. And I just think before generative AI, it's been hard to do. It's cost money, it's taken time, you need the right people in place. Whereas now I think that go-to-market strategy has been sped up. And I think you literally can create a business, a service, and a product that the market wants because you're able to do synthetic research. I think it will speed up the process. And I think that then create people with more, what's the word, like confidence, but autonomy to get it done themselves and not rely on people. And I think it's just going to make us more, I want to say excited, but I might be the only person that gets excited with business ideas, but just more enthusiastic, go-getter humans that if we want to make something happen, we can make it happen. And I think this is, one of the most exciting times to be alive, really.
And so in the previous conversation before we started this podcast, we talked about like ethics and AI. What are some like ethical considerations you keep in mind when treating leaders in AI?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, there's always a light and a shadow side to things, isn't there? There's always a good and a bad. There are some issues out there already. First of all, AI bias is there, it's present. We need to do a lot of work on that. Privacy and data security is there. If you're not careful, you can upload some personal information that other people can get hold of. With all of with using connectors on my Gemini account, I have my Zapier connected, I have my Google Calendar, I have my Google Maps, I have everything. If somebody gets hold of that, they'll know where I've been, what I've been doing. how to get into my emails, how to steal lots of data. We've always had that data security issues, cybersecurity problems, but I think this has quadrupled the risk. So it's very important to be aware of that. I think the whole deep fake 11 Labs, it's cloned my voice. And if someone got hold of my 11 Labs, they could be calling you, Daniel, and telling you that, I don't know, with 1 million, send me your bank details and I'll transfer it. Honestly, it is very scary. So there's very issues with that. Obviously, if we're talking about world politics, we're already in an era where unfortunately technology is causing wars. That is the reality, because you can send a drone over and with nobody in it now, so you can have no casualties yourself, but cause casualties. That's just a few things. I'm a really optimistic person, so I struggle to get my head around all these bad things and hope that they never exist, but they do. And anything in life, you have to be aware of them. You have to try and keep up to date with trusted sources, and then try to use, I think, AI in the best, or generative AI tools in the best way possible that is going to get the best out of yourself, but also the best out of the people around you.
Now, what role does emotional intelligence have when dealing in the AI business world?
Oh, that's a good question. Quite a deep question there.
What?
Well, where we're at with using generative AI is, they say, and everyone's probably heard this, rubbish in versus rubbish out, right? If you're going to give the AI information or ask for it to create something, but you don't give it enough context, or you don't give it enough human domain expertise, that is our knowledge, our experience, our perspective on the topic or life, and generally how we like to communicate, then we're only going to get generic AI stuff out. And if we're going through that circle where it's AI giving us things out and we're putting AI back in, the way that we train the AI model, we're not giving it enough justice. So we have to put in as much human knowledge, expertise, and perspective as possible. And our perspective on things is often our emotional intelligence, what we are bringing to it, how we see things. That is what I believe is what makes us all unique. So there is something in your AI model which says, don't use my data for training. Some people who are security at risk, they don't like that. They turn that off. I personally keep mine on because I like to train AIs on how a crazy Australian turned UK lover, PE teacher turned AI trainer likes to talk, likes to think, likes to create, because that for me is helping train AI for the future.
So do you work with any particular businesses or industries, or do you work with all industries and all types of businesses as an AI consultant?
Yeah, I've been really lucky to have many experiences from different businesses. In business, they used to say the riches is in the niches. But I think when it comes to AI, it's slightly different. As an example about the sustainability consultant, another example is I worked with an interior designer who had a course. So we created an IP. It was called Dr. Craig Thompson. So created Dr. Craig Thompson AI that was in their course delivery. We created a lead gen. We created a business to business tool for him. I'm working with some CEOs and some chairmen of a business now who are trying to just learn more about AI and how they can use it as business leaders. So we've set up quite a few different workflows for them. I recently did some work with a systems guy. So he actually goes in and creates for businesses and connects systems, like it might be from like payroll to within the HR, and then the HR system needs to speak to one of the other departments. And he's the techie guy that converts all those systems. But we created a tool for him to be able to do that quicker and faster, and for him to be able to get the answers from his client earlier using an AI tool. It's like an audit tool. So that was that one. I worked with a networking group where we put in all of the network information, and each week the people in the network have to talk to the AI and tell them some wins they've had with their clients or some events they've got coming up. And then the AI matches them with some clients with each other. So for example, if we were in a network group and my clients were interior designers and you happen to be a textiles company that provides to interior designers, we would be matched with this AI tool. Yeah, I've created a few of them. And obviously in my own businesses, created AI platforms. So that's a few. Yeah, I'm really lucky. I don't specialize in an industry, to answer your question, because AI literacy is very new. We've been given this amazing technology and we don't know how to use it. And you need experts that have done their 10,000 hours. I definitely think I'm very close, if not over 10,000 hours of generative AI use for business. So people need that AI expert to go to, right?
That's excellent. And if somebody, has a question about our conversation today or interested in working with you, what's the best way they can reach out to you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is my social media platform of choice. I am on many. I'm business with AI strategist, but personally, you can grab me on LinkedIn. It's just Marnie Wills. You can search, or again, search business with AI strategist. I also have some free resources on my Stand store. So if you just look, you'll find the links on all of my social media channels anyway. So lots of free resources on there. You can book a free 30-minute strategy call with me and we can talk about where you are in your AI journey, where you want to be, any thoughts on any AI tools that you've been using but you want to use more of, or you want to use something different. Yeah, strategy calls are my favorite because they're all different, and I'm sure to give you some homework when you leave that 30 minutes. You'll have plenty to do once you've finished with me.
So do you have any final thoughts, Marnie? Do you like to leave with our audience to wrap up our podcast for today?
Oh, well, I think I've probably said it all, but if you haven't already, please start using Perplexity. Please start talking to your AI. I know it sounds silly, but find a good time. I do it every morning after the school drop off before going to the gym or my first client, and have fun. Generative AI is not techie. You're not too old. It's not too late to start. It's really important that you just start using every day, because this time, in 6 months' time, you will be on the way to learning all things generative AI for life and business.
Well, Marnie, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It was really wonderful having you. I listened to your story of becoming a non-techie to the AI pioneer and consultant in the world. I do believe that you do play an important role in our society now as we make this jump. You said it, from a technical evolution of using AI in business applications and thought leadership. We need people like you to help people bridge that gap. So I'm sure a lot of people in the audience will be interested in that type of thing. But I just want to thank you so much for sharing about your experiences and your knowledge with our audience today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Daniel. It was a great conversation.